All right, so now let's get into this topic. So this should be a juicy one. Where we could talk about Austin Wolf, which I could have sworn I had. Oh yeah, I do. I was like, wait a minute, didn't I have his picture up? Sure did. You know, his Instagram is still up. I don't think that's going anywhere. So I came across this article over on pride.com, and it was written by none other than Ricky Cornish, who has interviewed Austin Wolf quite a few times, especially when he has, been on the red carpet at the gay VNs. I was actually, happy to see that Ricky Cornish, has got on social media and has written an article about one of the people that he has interviewed a multitude of times. And basically, the story is basically asking, do adult entertainers have a responsibility to comment on Austin Wolf's arrest? Because, there have been many stars who are speaking out against him, but others are staying completely silent. And should people be out here dragging those who are being silent over this situation? Now, and I have seen that on social media where there have been certain ones that have called out certain people, LeGrand Wolf, you're next, or this one, or that one, or, oh, look into this person. They do so, just throwing names out there with no actual evidence that they've been doing some things like what Austin Wolf has been accused of doing. And not just accused, well, I guess it is an accusation because the legalities, all that stuff was put out there. We read it. We went through the whole citation. We broke it down. There was people in the comments on, that was dogging him out. There was people that was out there windmilling for him, trying to say he's one of the best porn stars alive or whatever. Okay, that's your prerogative. That's your belief. But now I'm side-eyeing you because I wonder what kind of content you got in your house and on your hard drive. So the article says the following. Late last month, popular adult entertainer Austin Wolf was arrested on charges of CP. Since news broke, many of his former fans and longtime critics have reached out to his frequent collaborators asking them to speak out against Wolf and his alleged criminal activity. One glance at social media and you'll find many people calling out Wolf for the type of content he's created throughout his career, which typically shows him on camera filming S videos with younger porn stars. While it says many popular content creators haven't said anything in relation to Wolf's case, as it appears that'll stay the same until Wolf's court date or possibly forever. That begs the question, is it even necessary for these adult performers to say anything? Do they have a responsibility to publicly rebuke him? That's a question that many in Wolf's orbit are likely wrestling with now. So one of the tweets, they said, Jason Luna, who was a longtime friend and collaborator of Wolf's, who mentioned that many people have stayed silent since they are in shock themselves, saying most of us are silent because they're having a really difficult time processing what just happened. And I remember I did read this to y'all the last time, but people were going in on him. So one person put, please do not be silent. CP is not something you need to process. It's something you need to condemn and address immediately. The content with that man must be erased from Earth ASAP. Another person put, Viking Muscle put, what is difficult to process? None of this was a shock to anyone. Another person put, it's not hard to process when a bestie gets caught being a monster, but take your time. Either way, you know that you'll have a safe space here for when you're ready to talk about the situation. Another person put, processing LOL equals I'm cracked out during NYC Pride and I'll process this next week. Another person put, I understand being in shock about what was found in his apartment. Y'all seem like close friends, and I bet this is terrifying. But this statement is giving my kid would never have done something like this energy. At least delete your content with him. So that was just a couple of the people that commented on Jason Luna's tweet. I should also say, so now Josh Moore pointed out that a ton of models in the industry were getting scary messages and threats for having minimal connection with Wolf, which he believes isn't fair. So there was an article on that. Oh, wait, no, it was a tweet. So he says, now apparently everyone who ever came into contact with AW is to blame. And had a crying emoji, well, laugh and crying emoji. Effing gays, I just can't with any of you. So another person by the name of Trophy Muscle put, I really don't get the finger pointing. I bear no responsibility or guilt over a stranger's earlier. Then he went and posted, right, it took an undercover operation by the FBI to get to him, but somehow I was supposed to know about it because he does corn with Twinks. Also, the defendant has barely been indicted, yet the pitchforks are all out and the online lynching is in full circle. So, a lot of people agree with him. So some people also said in the comments, why didn't anyone use their X-Men psychic powers to call out his personal life? All corn stars are BFs and hang out all the time, right? Meanwhile, these people scramble to unfollow him and hope no one remembers them J.O. to his videos before they got high and mighty. They've got a point. So, you know, they've had their thing. So, I don't know. So, so there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on. I don't want to sit here and just go through all of those because there's more that we need to go through with a couple other people who have spoken out. So one of them being Timothy Champagne and Harley Xavier. They spoke out on their Instagram. Well, actually, I think it was they did a joint statement on Timothy Champagne's Instagram. They were together when they did it. And the thing I should note, is that they've never actually collaborated with Wolf, but they've worked with other content creators who have collaborated with Wolf in the past. So they have their opinions, and we're going to actually get to that clip, and then we'll talk.
Austin Wolf has been accused of some really messed up stuff, and Harley knows more about it than I do, to be honest. I just want to hear like his opinion on it. Like, he read the entire dissertation and everything. Yeah. So,
oh my God, I don't even know where to start, honestly. First of all, I'm sorry to all the victims. Okay, like as someone that's had that happen to them as a kid, you know, like, it's super serious, the damage you can do. Second of all, I don't know him that well, but I've heard things, you know, through the grapevine, and Dusty didn't work with him because of it. Now, this is hard to talk about, but he apparently has several videos with several little boys, basically doing all sorts of things with them in his apartment. Police raided his apartment, and they found SD cards with hundreds of videos, apparently, of him doing these kinds of things. Now, what had been happening was actually parents, families, he was offering to pay them to make these videos, right? And so gross. But they were taking that kind of money from him, letting him do it, record it. And then he was using Telegram and selling it on the dark web. And there's so many layers to this story. But the takeaway is, you never know, man. Because everybody, you know, really respected him. Everybody loved him. You know, it wasn't like a thing. There was just like little rumors here and there, but everybody respected him, loved him so much that they were always just squashed, you know? Gosh, I don't know.
You guys have to remember, too, that like most people in this industry are ethical. And obviously the unethical ones are the ones that are going to be, you know, they're the ones that stand out. Yeah. And I made a post talking about this like on Twitter, and like people like started accusing me of stuff, and like it seems like if you've worked with him in the past, which I haven't, I have never even met him. I feel like people will like accuse you of like knowing things, because that happened to a couple of my friends who have worked with him.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know. Like people don't know. It's just, I think people online, they really want you to be a hypocrite, or they want you to, like, people are addicted to drama, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
And they want drama. And this isn't drama. This is like something real. And it's like really messed up that the internet just likes to take things like this and make sort of like conspiracy theories about other people knowing, like
generalizations, like lumping us together in a group with this man because we're also in the same industry. Like, this is really dangerous rhetoric. You know, it's a serious situation, and it's his situation. You know, it's not ours.
Like, I have a good friend who worked with him. I'm not gonna name, but like, he got like 5 messages from people being like, you knew, like, did you know? It's like he didn't know. Like, and I'm sure that's happening with everybody else that he's worked with in the past. Like, they don't like, you don't just go around. I mean, it's obvious. I feel like most people are aware enough to know how obvious it is that not everybody knew what was going on. So yeah.
Genuinely, it's a tragedy. I'm sorry to all the families. You know, it's just one of those things. We'll keep you posted on this. If you want more content like this, let us know. As stuff comes out, we'll keep you updated. And just remember that he doesn't speak for the rest of us, and we condemn this behavior entirely.
Yeah. Anyway, peace out, guys.
Okay, so they made some valid points in there with that. And I feel like when we get into having these deep, heavy conversations, especially when we talk about the adult cinematography industry and what goes on in that world, is the fact that, I know on one hand, y'all talk about, oh, well, you're giving ammo for the, the radical Republicans and all that other stuff, the ones that want to destroy us and always want to equate, adult films with grooming and CP and all that other stuff. And it's just like, I try to cancel out all that noise. And to a point, it's like, Austin, you done went out and fucked up the whole situation because, I don't know, it's I guess because he's so addicted to money and being popular and trying to keep up with the algorithms and maintaining that height of success, that you was willing to just destroy yourself and your entire career to do it. And the fact of the matter is, shame on the parents out there that allowed Austin to film content with their underage children and taking money. This is stuff that I've heard not from him necessarily, but things that people do in like disenfranchised countries, like when people are really, hard up for cash and they prostitute out, well, they whore out their children or whatever the case is, or sell their children for money or food or whatever the case is because they're disenfranchised. And if that's what he was doing when he was going to other countries and traveling in and out of the, we talked about he was, on planes a lot filming and stuff. That's what he was doing when he was going to Mexico and the Cayman Islands and all these other places. Then shame on you and shame on those damn parents. I understand times it's hard, but y'all should not be out here selling your damn kids like cattle for some rupees or whatever the hell it is, kind of coin that y'all be out here using. So I feel like when it comes to adult entertainers, if you feel it within your heart that you know something and you want to express your experience with that celebrity, even if you like, if you're in a situation like Tim and the other guy where you haven't even met the guy, but you want to speak on this thing and you have the vernacular to put those words together, then no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. Like I'm here for y'all to tell, your side or to reveal a side and have the conversation, because I feel like we as a community should have this conversation. However nuanced the level that you want to have the conversation at, if you feel that you have it within yourself, you want to talk about your experience in the industry and certain studios that do certain things, and you've seen certain things, and you just want to keep it vague, or whatever the case is, then you go ahead and do that. But I don't feel like people should be forced to speak on something, especially if they don't know what was going on, because there could be people that, we had suspicions because of the type of content, but let's be clear. From what we know, a lot of those guys that Austin was filming with looked like babies, but they were of the legal age. So he played within that line. Now, all the stuff that he was doing on the dark web, that's a whole nother conversation. Not saying that we can't talk about it, but that's just something else that could be attached to a different situation. But the people that he was filming with, from what we know, they were of age. So when people go out and say, well, he was caught with CP, when they say, oh, well, we knew, you didn't know. What you knew was you had a suspicion, or your suspicions were proven right, because based off of the type of content that he was putting out there on his For My Fans, which was he was always this alpha male, 40 plus something dominant daddy type that was always having sexual relations with barely legals. So they looked like kids. And they had that whole daddy son thing that apparently our community lives for. So, but they were of the legal age. So he could play within that whole fantasy and he could sell that fantasy. But at least with what we know, the guys were of legal age. But now all the other stuff on the dark webs goes to show that, okay, so now it makes sense why people were making the pedophile jokes, the CP jokes, and all the other stuff because of the type of men he was doing the content with. But then when you actually, see when all the stuff was coming out, I was like, okay, now there's confirmation to that. So that's what I think what people were saying. People didn't really know that he was out here making that stuff. And if you did, shame on you. So did we have a couple more people that did jump on Twitter and make comments? Like men.com said, we are utterly repulsed and horrified by today's news reports regarding Austin Wolf. Let's be clear, none of our brands have any current partnership or affiliations with him whatsoever. We are swiftly and decisively removing all content featuring him from our platforms. Then Joey Mills went and put, let's get one thing clear. I've never worked with this man for a studio or a personal collab. The only times I've ever been around him was during award shows and other industry events. I'm not tied to nor associated with anything this man did or does. Now, when I remember the first time I did a report on what Joey Mills said, I was like, why he sound like a hit dog that's hollering? Because it was like nobody, even if you ain't been around him, like, why would you need to speak up? And I guess now I understand why, because I didn't realize that there were people that were hitting every damn porn star under the sun up saying, oh, you worked with him. Oh, you collaborated with him. Oh, you did it. Speak up. You need to open your mouth. You need to say something. It's like, but wait, what are you talking about? Like, we've only been in the same room together at the Gay VNs or the other award shows. We've never actually collabed. But you want me to speak out? So I can understand why people who have never even collaborated with him or met him or whatever are speaking up, because it's like, you have a responsibility, especially, I think more adult film stars should speak up, because in this day and age, especially when we're talking about that, adult cinematography is at stake right now. And that seems like to be the only way a lot of people are able to afford to live a lifestyle and, have some money in their pocket, because these regular jobs and people still out here struggling. The democracy is at stake. So it's like they're trying to ban, adult films and all this. Meanwhile, a lot of them damn Republicans be beating their meat and rubbing their clits to the content, but want to abolish it. So now Felix Fox wrote, I am late to reply to the disgusting actions of Austin Wolf. I absolutely cannot express how repulsed I am at his behavior. To put anyone through that, let alone my child, my heart is filled with sadness. It is fucking repugnant. The law is merciless against those who partake in this abhorrent behavior. From what I have heard, more people / content creators about to be exposed. Also, as sick as me to think that this exists, I effing hate it. My heart goes out to every single victim that this pedophile got his hands on. So, a lot of people came out and said some things, and they were agreeing with him and was glad that he spoke out. One person put, has anyone thought that perhaps Austin Wolf is being framed and that the NYC FBI planted that card? Why is everything always a plant? Everything's a damn plant. Why can't it just be that some people are just gross assholes? Why is everything a plant? The only thing I am mad about is that all this shit broke during Pride weekend in New York. So, I think we're at the So Ricky Cornish wraps it all up by saying, although many people are choosing to be silent regarding this news, only time will tell. More people will speak up as Wolf's case continues to progress. At the end of July, Wolf will attend a preliminary hearing in the case where the prosecution will present evidence to a judge who will decide whether enough evidence exists for this case to go to trial. He faces up to 20 years in prison for his alleged crimes, because it is alleged, because innocent until proven guilty. And there's that. So, since I'm still talking about it now, it's the 15th of July, so we probably got maybe a week or two before this case goes to trial. So I will definitely be keeping you guys abreast of this story as it develops. But I ask you all, what do you think of this story? Do you think that adult content creators and film stars should speak up about what's going on in the community. I did see a video that Mr. Pam did where she talked about Austin Woman. You know, she has collaborated with him in the past and said a bunch of things. If y'all could definitely check that video out, definitely check it out on YouTube. It was a good one. Where she said a whole lot of things about how, you know, he's a nice guy, which what was said in the thing before. However, there have been some shady things that he has done to other content creators in the past. So Austin is not innocent in this whole situation. And she talked about the, you know, the political, you know, stance on adult films and all other stuff and how people are reacting and all this other stuff. So I love the fact that we are getting people that are speaking up, because if you're in the industry, I definitely want to hear from you. I think it, you know, you should be compelled to speak. But if you don't want to talk, then that's okay too. It should be whenever you know, in your own time. We shouldn't be putting guns to people's, metaphorical guns to people's heads and ask them to speak up on things if they don't have the vernacular to speak up. So I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below.